thank you, everyone. Yeah, 4:45. So thank you. Thanks for making the time. Go to the next slide, please. So here we have with us two leaders from two different organizations from Europe. Cramp, we have Olivier with us here, and also Royal Vopak. We have Margareta with us here. And Babu, he is one of our leaders from Cognizant in the European market to take our offerings to our customers. And I'm Pradeep Hati. So in this panel discussion today, we'll talk about the journey Cramp and Royal Vopak are taking, their lessons learned. That's primarily what we are going to discuss. Towards the end, we are leaving approximately 10 to 12 minutes for questions from any of you. So that's the way we would like to conduct the panel discussion today. So again, the topic is enterprise transformations, adoption of latest and greatest technologies offered by Oracle. So I would like to direct the first questions, and you get the privilege because you are embarking the journey now. Yep. But in the middle of doing a transformation journey, enterprise transformation using Oracle Cloud application and technology, right? So the questions would be, I would like to share with the audience, like what exactly you're planning to do, the scope of the process areas, functional areas. That's one part. Second is, these are always an investment. You have to go to your board, go to your leadership for making the investments. So how did you make that happen? The second one.
Good questions.
Yeah. And third one is, of course, out of this transformation journey, what benefits your organization, your planning, or envisioning will have. If you just want to highlight some of those, please.
Thanks. First of all, thanks a lot for having us, and thanks a lot for being here. We are the final step, basically between the now and the dinner and also the party. So thanks a lot for being here. So yeah, on my side, I'm basically from a company called Cramp. So that's a Dutch company. That's family business, B2B, selling spare parts to different industries. So construction, forest and grass care, and also agri. So we basically sell to dealers and resellers, and they basically sell to farmers, for example. So yeah, we started the company more than 70 years ago, and at that time, of course, the company grew quite a lot, from nothing to like 1.3 billion euros, so which is quite an achievement, I would say, in 70 years. And of course, with that came also some complexity, right? So now the project that we started 2 years ago, almost, is about replacing a really old ERP legacy system. And of course, I mean, when you start an ERP, that was basically more than 20 years ago, step by step, you customize it. You basically bypass processes. You basically add complexity. And at one stage, when you need to replace it, you basically need to retro-engineer all basically the past 20, 25 years to make it work. And that's basically what the project is about. What we want to do is to basically move the right features at the right place. We also want to take time to simplify, to harmonize, and also to generate basically business value as well. We really didn't want the project to be just a tech for tech project. So we spent a lot of time to discuss about how to bring value, how to simplify, how to harmonize, how to review the processes. Why do we need to be so different in the different countries, in the different warehouses? And I think it's also really important when you start a project like that, not to do that just from a pure, I would say, tech standpoint. To do that basically in a kind of, the concept that we have is what we call a two in a box. So we basically transform the company from not only a tech lens, but also from a business lens. And we truly believe that we need to do that like in both directions.
Right. It looks like you had a project before the project, initiative before the initiative.
Yeah. To come to your second question about like the budget itself and how do you sell that to the management, to the board, at first you need to agree, like end to end, with the business, with finance, with the management, what do you want to put in the business, in the project, right? It's not that easy. So we also spend a few months discussing about that, agreeing on what should be part of the scope. How do we look at that? How do we want to do deployments? What should be basically phase one, phase two? What should be done first? Which country? Which warehouse? So, and I think that first part, basically the alignment, what we call the discovery, is basically key if you want to be aligned on basically what you want to achieve as a company. And the outcome of that will be the budget, right?
Right.
It should not be the other way around. You cannot go to the board and say, oh, I need a few million. Do you agree on that? You need to explain it a bit more than that and basically sell the dream. You need to build the common dream between all the tech teams, but also all the business teams.
Fantastic, yeah. And then I think that's a natural question. Looks like you set the objectives, the way you are going to transform your company at the beginning. Now you are in the journey, right? So this is a common question we answer and we get to our organizations who are planning this journey. They want to know how it's going, right? And one aspect I want you to highlight, please, if you can, your stakeholders, they are still living in the world of the legacy processes, right? They're executing these processes. And we are asking them to transform and innovate at the same time.
Yeah.
So there need to be a balance between those two, right? So they need to be two in a box. One moment they are living in the legacy world, next moment they are transformative, they're innovative. How are you maintaining that balance? And is it becoming any obstacle? Is it creating motivation in them? How is the journey going, if you want to highlight, please?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a project like that being an easy one, to be honest. It's always a bit of a bumpy road, right? It's always a bit challenging, but at the end of the day, we have the trust that we'll get there, basically as planned. So, I mean, your question is also how do you balance the legacy and basically how do you keep the lights on during your implementation and then basically go live with the new systems and with the new processes. I think the first thing is business continuity is of course number one, right? If you cannot basically keep the lights on for the next 2 or 3 years, you will not be in business anymore. So it's basically for us a top priority, right? But then you also need to have the right people, the right talents, the right departments basically available to drive the transformation. And that's a challenge in itself. And of course, I mean, we are a company, we have a little bit more than 3,000 people, but we don't have like 10,000, like 200,000 people. So finding the right talents, basically having them available for the project, having the right partners, that's also a challenge for us, right? And of course, the first few months, you basically need to spend time on how do you want to organize a project? What kind of people do you need? What can you do to free them up, right? Because they are busy on other stuff, right? So you also need to discuss about how to prioritize this project versus the rest, versus the other initiatives. So you have a lot to discuss also with the management and with all the other teams. Because the only way to make it a success is basically to have the right people to drive the transformation. And that's a must if you want to basically succeed in such a big transformation.
So basically, you focused on the resource strategy right from the get-go. Yeah. And then your alignment became easier. You found the people with the transformative and innovative mindset.
Yeah, everything is about people, right? So you need people from finance, you need people from procurement, you need people from operations. I mean, you need people from all departments. And guess what? They are not available, right? They are all like busy on other stuff. So the first phase is always, who do you need when to be successful? What kind of allocation do you need from them? What kind of talents do you need? And then basically, what can you do internally with your own people, with your own talents, and where do you need to be supported? So that's also part of the exercise that we went through basically during the scoping phase.
Fantastic. So let's switch the gear a little towards Margareta. So now, Royal Vopak, you have already undergone the journey. Okay, you have achieved the successful go live, right?
Yeah, of course.
Similarly, like if you please provide a little bit of background of the company, what you have implemented, how the transformation did go, and then we'll have the next set of questions for you.
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for being here at this time, and thank you for having me over here. My name is Margareta Hendrich, and I'm working for Vopak. Vopak is a Dutch company, and we store products all over the world, specifically bulk liquid products, and we are also providing services. And of course, also looking into the new energies at the moment to ensure that we have the correct infrastructure. Our journey started many years ago already, to be honest. We moved to the cloud in 2016, 2017. And the main reason to do that was, first of all, we were running on premise and support stopped. But secondly, we really would like to standardize and simplify our processes. Um, Everybody would like to change, except their own process, of course. That's always the case. But looking back at the moment we were ready for the change and we decided to move on with Oracle Cloud, we started the pilot location in Germany. And we thought in the Netherlands, close by. So we implemented finance, procurement, and financial projects. And yeah, that having said, we thought we will do that from the headquarters.
Fantastic. Yeah. So it looks like your goal was to simplify processes, right?
Correct.
And I think that's the goal for every organizations who are taking the transformation journey. And I have also been in front of many customers talking about how could we make the similar journey for them, simplifying processes, optimizing processes. In the whole journey, did you have any challenges? Did you have any resistance? And how did you overcome? It purely comes from process optimization, also from the point of view of the technology adoption. It's a brand new technology. It's a brand new set of working. So from that lens, would you want to share some of your experiences?
Yeah, based on the pilot location, we concluded that what we had in mind was not really the result. And that was also leading to the fact we had, at that moment, a few key challenges. First of all, we underestimated the change. I already mentioned we thought we will do it from the headquarters, but that was not how it worked. We went live on release 12 many years ago. That was not the most stable release from Oracle. So, well, I think 2017, 2018, release 13 came, which was more stable. Scope changes were key challenges, but also the governance. We had a lot of people in our company that they thought that they can make a decision, but they were not even part of the governance. So we really needed to take a step back. And at that moment of time, our partnership with Cognizant started, and we reorganized our approach. And with that new approach, we addressed all the key challenges to move forward and start in parallel a global implementation.
Oh, it looks like you have gone quite a bit of to the journey of it. So how was it? I mean, if we have to make the readjustment, was it a reboot? Looks like I heard few things. You have to shift the focus from running from the corporate office, and you have to take the project to the branch location, right? That's one part I heard. You also have to change the resource strategy. So was it a complete replanning, reboot? How did that whole journey work for you?
Well, first of all, the approach. We started working in what we call the stage gate approaches. So every stage gate, we determined criteria, and if we were not able to meet them, we stopped, make sure that everything was in place before we could make the next step. We start working with change ambassadors, change managers, to get everybody on board, including the local organization, that Oracle Cloud was coming. We were very transparent on the new processes. And sometimes it came out that adding 5 minutes in the front of the process will save 30 minutes in the end of the process. But if you are working on the additional 5 minutes, it's not the best message. But keep them, all the end users, aligned with the approach, what we would like to achieve. That really helped.
That is great. So basically worked on the adoption piece by talking to them about the benefits they are going to save 5 minutes now versus 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
That's a great approach. That's a great approach. Let me shift the gear a little bit towards you. Since you are doing the migration now, doing the journey, how is it going? Any challenges you're experiencing? Now that product is so different, it's no longer 12, right now we are in 25, much more mature. So you'll not have the technology challenges. Anything which you'd like to share here with the audience?
Yeah, I would say I don't think that the challenge is basically the platform in itself. I think that Oracle can clearly do it. It's more like on our side, when you need to start reviewing your own processes, your own level of customization that you accumulated the past 20 plus years, that takes time. And it's also quite painful, to be honest. And I would say like, simplicity is probably the ultimate sophistication. There's a way we look at that. Now we basically want to simplify, to harmonize, to basically share that between all the countries, between all the warehouses. That was not the case before. So you have a lot of work to go through to align on what should be the to-be process, right, or the to-be processes. And that part was, I think, a little bit underestimated like 2 years ago.
Got it.
And of course, when you go through the process, you realize that it can be painful. Also, the people that you need to basically look at that from an end-to-end standpoint, not only procurement, but also like e-commerce, supply chain, finance, procurement, receiving, invoicing. So when you start basically touching all the customizations of the past 20 plus years, that takes time.
Right, got it. I have a very, so first of all, your organization, your processes, and you're the master of it. Yep. No questions. One part always comes as a common topic is that the technology itself is changing much, right? Maybe by the time you establish the business case, took the business case to your leaders for the approval, and then now, if you look into it, every release, the new features, the technology stack is changing. Yep. Agentic AIs are coming in the picture. So the whole technology, and then of course the whole Oracle Cloud infrastructure, AIDP, everything combined together is posing lots of opportunities, right? Now what it means is you really have to adopt a certain strategy for resources to execute the game plan you have, right? One side, your process maturity, your innovation side, and secondly, from the adoption of the technology and getting the latest and greatest. So keeping that lenses in mind and multiple dimensions in mind, how did you work on the resourcing strategy to execute your project between your resources, between any other partners, and also any other external help you had to take? How did the whole process go? What was your recipe you adopted for the successful journey?
I think the first thing is like asking ourselves the question, can we do that alone, right? Do we have the talents? Do we have the skills? Do we have the people to do that? And I think after a few minutes, we concluded no. Let's also be realistic, right? We don't have like thousands of people specialized in Oracle, specialized in order management or like supply chain. So for us, it was a little bit obvious. I mean, going for a partner was basically the only way to do it. So that's also why we started basically the collaboration also with Cognizant, because I mean, you have the people, you have thousands of people for like every single domain. And for us, that was really needed to basically drive the transformation. So, and now the only question is how to balance basically the resources internally from our teams, how to balance that also between this project, this transformation project, and the other project, and also the run in itself. So basically ensuring business continuity. And I would say, what should we delegate to somebody else? What we also decided, we need to be in a driving seat. Not saying that we should drive everything, but we should understand the project, we should understand the scope, we should own it. So the goal is not to delegate completely the ownership of the transformation. That's something that we should own internally. But finding the good people, the good talents, when we need them, where we need them, that's something that a company like yours can basically do perfectly, because that's what you do on a daily basis. We don't. This is something that we have to do every 20 years, if you see what I mean. So we are really far from being specialized in that. So we definitely need support.
Got it. Yeah. So basically then the lessons learned would be, if we have to execute a project very, very successfully, get the specialists' help, and in this case, Cognizant has been privileged to do it, and then combined with your expertise, your resources, your processes. Right?
Exactly.
So Babu, you are in the market, right? You are in the European market. Our goal, Cognizant as a company, to ensure customer success, right? And through the cloud products and technologies, our goal is to of course, successfully delivered the outcome which was there, but deliver something beyond that. And very common terminology, we call it a continuous adoption framework. Adoption of, again, the latest and greatest. Agentic AI is a good example. The changes in the technology infrastructure is a good example. AIDP and leveraging that is a great example, right? So from that lens, what philosophy do we carry in that market, in the European market, to make the customers, to give them the success they are looking for?
Right. A good question. So the main thing is, with respect to the philosophy, we try to keep it very simple from our philosophy perspective, right? It's never a customer and supplier relationship. It's always a partnership. So when it comes to partnership, we don't want to run at a pace that the customer can't run with us. So we want to ensure that we are going at the same pace. So that's number one. We try to keep it simple from a partnership perspective. The second part is, at the end of the day, we are a technology partner to help them implement a solution from a technology transformation perspective. So which essentially means we want to ensure that we have the right team in place to support the customers in their journey. And when I say the right team, these are the right team from an Oracle perspective. The other element of that, we want to always continuously ensure that our customers are getting the value out of their investments in Oracle. Oracle is continuously changing. You mentioned about agentic AIs, you mentioned about the 23 AI that's coming up. Our team are skilled enough to ensure that we are supporting the customer in their journey. So in a nutshell, it's a very simple philosophy. We want to ensure the partnership model continues.
That is great. Thank you so much. So now we are almost halfway through, and let's get to the essence of the theme of this conference, AI world, right? And so now we have seen your transformation journey, how we have planned for it, how did you overcome the challenges, your goals, we have learned about it. And at the same time, you have the strategic objective of, I will call it a competitive goal, right? To have over your competitions, to make yourself in a position of having advantage over your competitions. And agentic AI plays a big role. So you are implementing. I'll go back to each of you individually on this. So Margareta, let's go to you first, and then I'll come back to you. So we are right now, you have implemented, you have seen the journey, you have stabilized the platform, you are adopting. So what is your strategy to see a competitive advantage using agentic AI, which is being offered by Oracle in the product and the technology?
Well, within Vopak, AI is the magic word on executive level. They think, just turn it on, and it will work, and it will solve all your problems. Well, that's not how it really works, to be honest, because your data needs to be ready for it, and then you have, of course, a discussion, when is your data ready for it? So at this moment of time, we are currently investigating the use of AI specifically for procurement in an isolated process where we can learn, where we can start working with agents, where we can understand how it's working. Within Vopak, we have our own support organization, and to be able to give answers to the questions of the people in the field, in the business units, we also need to understand how it's working, but also how to learn to make the agents. So that is what's going on at the moment. Next to that, we are also moving to Redwood. Redwood is one of the requirements you need to have in place before you can start working on with AI. And for the upcoming years, we will first start with procurement, low-hanging fruits, to get used to the way of working, to roll it out to all our end users, and make sure that we can benefit from it. Next step will be finance, and in the end, we are also looking for the end-to-end processes we have next to procurement and finance, so within risk management, for example, FDI, etc.
So you have going very strategically, at the foundation level, you have establish the fact that it's not a flip of a switch, flip of a button. It needs strategy for adoption, strategy for evolving the agentic AIs, and also instead of turning on everything in one single go, you are going process area by process areas.
Yeah.
And we have depicted how it is. No, this is great. This is great insight. At the same time, I think you are making the journey now, right? And you starting the journey in a stage of where the product is much more mature. Agentic AIs are reality. Almost every vendor here, they are demonstrating agentic AI. So what would be your strategy, let's say, starting now versus in 2 years from now?
Two things. We already have like Oracle Cloud for procurement and for finance. So we already have like some of the processes basically there. So we're also looking at what could we already start using like almost tomorrow, what's already included in the box that we could basically just switch on in the coming weeks or like months. And the second point is like, what should we basically look at for the new implementation? What should we consider as part of the new implementation? And I'm also really interested in basically agentic AI because I was reading an article a few weeks ago, and especially about like agent-to-agent protocols. So I also expect that to be developed basically in the next 2 years. And at the end of the day, somebody should be able to query and to get information coming from different systems, different data sources, and different agents. So that's also something that we need to consider. So on one side, we need to be focused on the implementation itself because we need to get there, I would say. But on the other side, we cannot simply ignore all the new developments. And that's also basically why we are here this week. Yeah. As part of the exercise.
So you are taking a journey of prioritizing between transforming your processes, doing the deployment, which is the key goal of the transformation project. That takes the first precedence. And then at the same time, you are evaluating the out-of-the-box AIs, which are possible to deploy right now. Is it also changing your business processes? Nowadays, there is a common industry trend that design your processes based upon how the agentic AI performs and adopt it. Are you going towards that philosophy, or you think it's too difficult to achieve at this point in time? Because you mentioned like the data is a big portion of it. We need to make sure that the performance of the agentic AIs need to be consistent, reliable, trustworthy. So how is that balance working for you?
So, I mean, the first focus is really to go live. The first focus that we have is we want to get there. So we don't want to deviate too much from that, but on the other side, we need to make sure that the foundation will be there to support all the features that will be available thanks to AI. For example, an agentic AI and like all the rest that's basically coming. So I think it's also important to consider that. We cannot ignore it. And of course, the goal is not to do AI just for the sake of it. We need to find a good balance as well. But yes, we do expect to use more and more of AI services. And by the way, not only for Oracle.
That's great, that's great. I will shift, I think we have spoken about the transformation journey, your strategy for AI. Let's cover some other aspects which in my professional journey and professional lifetime, I have experienced significantly about the regulatory compliance at European Union, any of these countries, right? So in your whole transformation journey, and I will come back to both of you on this about how do we address it. How did you really ensure the regulatory compliance across all geographies, multiple countries, even though they're part of very close geographies, still they're very different. The regulatory requirements are different. Agentic AIs functions differently on different sets of data. So how are you balancing that, and how are you ensuring the compliance across everything? Since you are in the operations already, maybe I will go to you first and then only.
Well, FOPOC is located in more than 23 countries, so we have indeed some challenges on local requirements and compliancy. What we did before we start the full implementation is starting up a separate project where we checked per country what was required to be compliant for tax and local requirements. And we did that step by step. First of all, what was really needed? Because what we concluded sometimes was if you asked the business unit or the location itself, everything was needed. But we really need to understand if it was a local compliancy requirement or just a nice to have. That was part of the project, and the report out was very clear. We had per location all the requirements available, and that was more or less mapped to the localizations that are available in Oracle. Was there a need to implement a localization, or were we able to do it as best practice part of the normal processes? That what differed per country, of course. Brazil was very challenging, but for example, Netherlands was manageable. After we closed that project, we started up all the local implementations in parallel, but we already knew for specific localization what was needed. So we managed it in a separate project and add step by step for the locations where we start the implementation.
So that is almost eye-opening, and so what I'm learning is it's not that everything has to be accomplished in one single go. There's an ask versus mandate. There's opportunity to enable the product, the localizations, to accomplish those requirements, geography specific. And yeah, I have been to Brazil personally. I know the compliance requirement and how their government agencies function. I think is it the similar experience for you also, that you almost did a parallel project to ensure to document the requirements and ensure the compliance? Is it how
That's
it
exactly the
works?
same. And in Europe, we're also known for making things different per country. So I would say from a financial standpoint, if you take the example of like e-invoicing, there is not like one Europe. You need to look at that at the country level and basically localize, I would say, unfortunately. But yeah, it's part of the game. Even if it's Europe, I mean, you still need to comply with the different regulations from different countries.
That is good. That's a great insight. I also have a very interesting question, and it's almost I would like to know the answer myself. I'm trying to find the answer myself. So the application landscape, the technology, everything is shifting towards digital. They don't call it a process, it's a digital process. They don't call it a technology, it's a digital technology. So everything is just digital. And eventually I'm seeing a role called digital head of an organization, called a digital leader, digital transformation leader. So with respect to enabling the Oracle Cloud products and technology, how prominently did you see the need of a digital leader to set the foundation, to set the framework, to set the compliance, to set the security rules, everything? How did it work for your organization? I mean, can you elaborate the role of a digital leader's role in your organizations? And I would like to go back to both of you, Margareta. Being close to me, you get the.
I'm working for almost 25 years for Vopak, so I also know how it worked in the past. When we had the on-premise location or on-premise solution, then you had once a year an upgrade, and then we still worked with the CDs and the floppies, and then it was okay, prepare, implement, done, and then you can more or less wait for the next upgrade. But with clouds, with SaaS solutions, everything is changes because you can expect every quarter new functionalities, new modules. So you need to be in a continuous improvement cycle, and that's a little bit different from the past. So that also requires different skills of the people you're working with. So yes, it is changed. It's not really traditional anymore, but it is continuous improvement. Make sure that you are part of the journey the supplier or the SaaS solution is providing you.
So continuous improvement, or CI/CD they call it industry. So that is so prominent and prudent that the role of a digital leader in the organization is Yes, very, very necessary. Is it the same thing you are noticing at Cramp also?
Yeah, on our side, that's exactly the same. I think that the main difference between like a few years ago and now is the pace of change. You have like new stuff basically popping up almost on a daily basis. And I'm from technology, but you need to follow the pace as well. You need people able to follow the pace. You need people who will basically enjoy that, right? So it's also quite different in terms of skill set and the type of people that you need to do that. And then you also need people able to convince the business, able to align with the business, explain the added value of these features. These are not just whistles and bells. These are stuff that we should basically consider as well. So you have like all the change management process that is basically also now basically more and more part of technology, I would say, and to do that, of course, with all the business lines. So the role is evolving. It's not different. It's just like changing, I would say, step by step, but way, way faster than in the past, yeah.
So it's mostly the role itself has evolved and evolving continuously.
Plus, you just mentioned a few times, like SaaS platforms is also a big difference because we used to customize all over the place to basically develop stuff ourselves. This is not something that you can do anymore with SaaS platforms. If you want to basically receive automatically the new updates without having to retest for like 6 months, you need to standardize, you need to harmonize, because at the end of the day, the question is, are you really so special that you need to customize all over the place? And I think that the answer is no. You should customize only where you can basically bring more value and not all over the place.
That's great insight. So digital officer's role is not only just digital compliance, but also a gatekeeper of digital processes.
Yeah.
Right. I would like to go back to you, Babu. You being in the market and primarily carrying the flag from Cognizant side to ensure that we as a partner of Oracle, and we are one of the top tier partner, we are trusted to take Oracle's latest and greatest products, and especially agentic AI, AIDP platform, right? The upliftment of the OCI technology framework, everything. So how do you really, what is your plan in that market to align, to make sure that everything what is there in the Oracle's product and technology stack are utilized and realized by our customers in the best possible way? So how are we functioning, how we are planning in that market?
Yeah. So before I specifically answer about how we are helping the customers, one of the important aspects is how did we help ourselves? So our first step was, Cognizant is is basically a services company at the end of the day. So for us, our biggest assets are our consultants. So we put a lot of effort to ensure that our consultants are upskilled to AI. I think it's public news. We had a great vibe coding AI hackathon for which we are basically on the Guinness Book of World Records, where more than 50,000 consultants participated in the hackathon and delivered more than 50,000 apps that was built using AI. So we upskill ourselves first. And that's from a generic AI technology perspective, upscaling to various possibilities of AI. The second step is specifically from an Oracle perspective. We have a strong partnership with Oracle, and our consultants are trained on how to bring in to life the out-of-the-box agents, how to bring to life the new agents that can be deployed, and it's that knowledge that we have upskilled our consultants into. Now, once you have done that part from our internal organization perspective, the next step is how do we help our customers. So simple 3 steps, just like a baby. You learn to crawl first, then you start walking, and then you start running. So that's the most important thing, right? I mean, so when you say crawling, it's about trying to adopt to the out-of-the-box agents, because that's the easier part comparatively, right? So that's the crawl part. The next part is starting walking, so build your own agents. So you have the agent studio available, so build your own agents, and how you can improve and make it absolutely specific to how you run your company and use those agents. And the third step is orchestrations of multiple agents, right? So you have to now start talking to agents from your other applications that you have invested in. You would have your data lakes, your data fabrics, all of them are going to have agents. So how do you ensure that all these agents work together well? So that whole orchestration process is the next step when you can start running and reap huge benefits from AI. So our strategy is basically crawl, walk, and run.
Right, right. It looks like we are ensuring that we are transforming our workforce first through a massive journey of hackathon and then building 50,000 agents internally, right? So we are ready
Yeah.
to take the discussion, and then to the customers we are advising crawl, walk, and then run process. This is great. We have 5 minutes left, so we'll go for. I'd like to have a closing remark. With respect to the transformation journey you have, with respect to the Oracle's vision of becoming an agentic AI-centric delivery of processes, and also making sure that data is an asset, data is a currency now, there's no question about it. That's the buzzword here, right? So leveraging your enterprise data to your own benefit, thinking the transformation journey you have to go through, your goal you have established for agentic AI-based transformation in upcoming years. If we have to make a closing remark, if we have to say that, let's say advice to the organizations who are planning to take this journey, what would be yours? I'll go like in the same order. This is as I have been going. Margareta, you?
In one sentence, never underestimate the change.
I wanted to say the same, so I need to find something else. I mean, honestly, change also training people, because I think to come back to the pace of change, you have so many things like popping up all the time that you also need to basically support the people in that transition. They also need to follow the pace. You should not be the only one driving the transformation. You need to take time for change management. You need to take time to train your own people. You need to convince them. You need to explain them the why. You need to sell the story. So change management is like super key.
Thank you so much, both of you. We promise that we will be taking questions from audience. Anyone have any questions for our panelists? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mean, yeah. So from a transformation standpoint, what we want to do first is to replace the legacy, to basically remove a really old ERP. And the way we do that, we basically align constantly, of course, with the different business lines. When we started the project, like almost 2 years ago, it was mainly driven by tech. And I think that was really not the best way to do it, because the buy-in from the business was simply not there. So we decided after a few months to change the organization. And now we have basically, like I said, like a two-in-a-box organization where I'm basically sitting in the steerco of the project, but we also have someone at the same level from the business. And we have a common goal to make it work. So sometimes we can fight behind the scene, but basically with the team, we need to be fully aligned and we need to move in the right direction. And if you ask me, I truly believe that's the best way to do it. It's easy, it's convenient, it's really fast, it's really like positive as well. And that's also, we need to lead by example also for the rest of the organization, for the rest of the teams. So I really like it.
Thank you. We also wanted to draw your attention to the slide we are presenting here. In our booth, Cognizant's booth, we are constantly demoing some of the agentic AIs which are easy to understand, easy to interpret, and make use of it in the Fusion Cloud applications. So I will strongly encourage to stop by at our booth. We have our technology experts. If you want to understand the construct behind it, we have resources available. I will strongly encourage to visit our booth and take a journey along with us. At the same time, Margareta, Olivier, and Babu, thank you so much for making the time.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the invite. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time.
All right. Thank you all for your time.